Hey, it's Scott Barratt, and you're tuned in to the NXT Halloween Havoc live reaction review on The Burning Truth Live. And today we're breaking down every match, every wild moment, and all of the twists that went down last night. From Trick Williams' intense Devil's Playground match against Ethan Page to Kelani Jordan's Gauntlet showdown with Fatal Influence and the big surprises with maybe one Mr. Dudley's appearance. There's so much to dive into, so let's join me as we go match by match, spotlight the top moments and what's next for NXT. Let's get burning, shall we? So the night started with I'm going to ruin this for you right away, guys. This is my match of the night already. We had Tony D'Angelo defending the North American Championship against Obafemi, the former champion, in a tables, ladders, and scares match. The rules of this were simple. Tables, ladders, and chairs were legal. Pretty much anything goes. And it was a pinfall or submission match. So it wasn't your usual tables, ladders, and chairs reach for the championship at the top of the ladder. It was pinfall or submission. So it was basically my first complaint of the night is that it was pretty much a street fight, really, if we're going to be totally honest about it. Didn't stop it from being my favourite match of the night, though. So Tony D'Angelo successfully defended the North American Championship. Really chaotic match, hard-hitting, slapping meat on meat. Absolutely fantastic. And with the help of the family, D'Angelo used the Halloween-themed stipulations to his advantage and got the win. I think it actually ended finally with a spine buster through a table for the win. It was a high-energy opener, and it really set the tone for the night. Real suspense, physicality. I think the match started pretty much with a spear through the barricade. That was like maybe the second or third move of the match. So yeah, really, really good. And I gave this one, I don't know what you gave it, and you can let me know in the comments below, but I gave this 4 out of 5 bangers to begin with. And on the Burning Truth, we rate it bangers. That's what we do. How many sausages do we give it out of 5? And this one, absolutely, for me, it got 4 out of 5 bangers. I really enjoyed it. Hard-hitting match, great opener, and nothing really topped this all night. I felt like, we peaked too early maybe, but a really, really good showing from Tony D'Angelo that I wasn't familiar with maybe 5 weeks ago when I started doing these NXT live reviews, and Obafemi, who equally I didn't know about either. But my God, Obafemi is an absolute beast. I nearly called him Xander Zulu then. If you know, you know. Shout out Xander Zulu. Next, we got a backstage segment with Lexus King. I didn't give this one a rating. I'm not going to give segments a rating, especially if they're backstage. William Regal announced in that segment that he would manage Lexus King in an upcoming match, which was his pressure off button, Scott, which was his Heritage Cup Championship match this Tuesday on NXT. And William Regal said he would be Lexus King's cornerman for that match, which is really cool. The alliance sort of brings an added intrigue to Lexus King's journey. I don't know how I feel about him, and I think I said this last week. I don't know how I feel about Lexus King, and putting William Regal in with him makes me like him automatically. I like him now because William Regal's giving him a bit of rub. So hopefully that happens for the rest of the fans as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Regal's guidance will influence his path, and having William Regal on telly can only be a good thing. Right, Heritage Cup. Pretty sure this is the championship trophy that came from NXT UK. Pretty sure they do rounds or 2 out of 3 falls, one or the other. Please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, we're going to find out together this Tuesday when we watch NXT, and I will do a live review for this week's NXT, as I always do, on Wednesday morning. Next, we had Julia and Stephanie Vaquer versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Roxanne Perez, the current reigning and defending NXT Women's Champion. And Julia and Stephanie Vaquer actually got the win over Roxanne Perez and the returning Cora Jade. So it was Cora Jade's first match in a year, apparently, as she's been through quite a bad injury. It was really well received from me and by the crowd, actually, if I'm being totally honest. It showcased really strong technical skills. And as I said, Julia and Stephanie Vaquer got the win, despite Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade's agility, if you like. I think Julia's suplex led to a decisive pin by Vaquer, and it really established them as potential future title contenders, both of them. They could go either way with this. They could go down the tag team Women's Tag Team Championship route and have them challenge Bianca and Jade Cargill, or they could continue to work towards championship match against Roxanne Perez, either or both, or maybe even a fatal four-way with Cora Jade, because I feel like although Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade are friends right now, it wouldn't take much for those to fall out and decide, Cora Jade to decide she wanted to be the champion. I gave this one 3 out of 5 bangers, right? And I did that because it didn't grip me quite as much as the first match. And I think, had they been in the other order, I think if this had been the opener, I think I would have felt different about it. But it felt like a step down after the Obafemi Tony D'Angelo match. So 3 out of 5 bangers for this one. And after the match, the music hit again, the lights went out. And again, this time from the stands, we had Zariah watching on informed face paint, makeup, kitted out in a gear, and looked really impressive again. So I really like this character Zariah, and I think we're going to get loads from her. But I don't know what she's going to be like in ring yet, so we'll see. But I'm excited. The NXT Women's Division, if you like, really, really strong, and it's one of the things that sort of lets down AEW when on the podcast when me and Matt Burns talk about AEW, the quality of the women's division and how they're used is really poor. NXT are doing that really well at the minute. After that, we had Bubba Ray Dudley. He was in the arena amongst the fans for an interview. He praised the NXT women's division, as I've just done. The surprise endorsement really excited the crowd. And he didn't really hint at future involvement in NXT, but it was good to see him there. And I can understand exactly why he's there, because in 2 weeks we've got, a week and a half, we've got NXT coming from the ECW arena, and Bubba Ray giving some endorsement there, and I imagine he'll pop up in that show as well. So it was great to see Bubba Ray Dudley there. Next, we had Fraxium backstage. Well, it was actually earlier in the day. It was an angle from earlier in the day, pre-recorded, and they were training. And Fraxium, I think Axiom, never heard him speak before. I don't know how I feel about a guy in a mask, like a full mask, talking. With Rey Mysterio, his mouth showing, so I feel like it's okay for him to talk. But when there's a full lucha mask on, I always feel a little bit weird about him talking. I don't know why. I suppose it gives away, if their accent gives away their heritage, almost gives you an inkling of who it can be, which, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I like the mystery from a masked character, but yeah, we got them talking about Nathan Frazier, one off of Fraxium. Axiom was talking about Nathan Frazier's impulsive behavior, and he was frustrated with him, and that hinted possible fractures within the team. It was another layer of storyline and intrigue, which I've probably missed from these in their tag title reign so far. So it gave me something to be interested in for them both. So that was really good, and I enjoyed the segment. And I think we've got a tag team championship match with them this Tuesday. Again, I think I'll talk about that in a minute. I think I've got that in my notes somewhere. And yeah, actually looking forward to the match now rather than it just being a showcase match. I'm starting to care about the characters because there's some story coming through. Next, we had the NXT general manager, Ava. She made an announcement backstage. She said that Lola Vice and Jada Parker will finally get their match, and they'll get a hardcore match at Philadelphia's historic 2300 Arena. So at the ECW Arena show in Philly, we're finally going to get Lola Vice versus Jada Parker with a special guest referee, and that special guest referee will be ECW legend Dawn Marie. Now, I'm not sure I would have used the word legend, but brilliant to see Dawn Marie coming back, and a great bit of nostalgia for the fans. ECW Arena, bring back an ECW character, Dawn Marie, special guest ref. Let's hope she's a better ref than she was a wrestler, and I'm sure it'll be fine, he says. Yeah, I think I'm excited for that. I wanted to see these two wrestle. I think it should be the main event of the show on that night. I genuinely do. I think these two, their feud has caught my eye more than some of the others over the last 4 or 5 weeks. So, yeah, really looking forward to that one. I think that'll be really good. Next, we had Andre Chase versus Ridge Holland in the ambulance match, and I did not enjoy this at all. Do you know what? I'm going to say it right now. I'm not a fan of Ridge Holland. I don't like him. I don't like him as a character. And it's not because he's playing a heel and I don't like the heel. I'm just generally and genuinely not impressed with him. He dominated Andre Chase. which we expected. I mean, it was nice that Chase came out in his Halloween-themed Freddy Krueger style outfit, Chase U jumper, but it felt really one-sided. Even though Andre Chase gave Ridge Holland a DDT on the table, you know, there was never any doubt that Ridge Holland was going to win the match. It lacked deeper engagement for me. Yeah. And I think it just served as a showcase for Ridge Holland. And I'm not a fan of him, and I don't really like him. And it didn't do anything to encourage me to like him more. So it was a bit of a dud for me. I gave this 1 out of 5 bangers, which is my lowest of the night. And yeah, Ridge Holland, get him off my TV. He's like the human fast forward button for me at the minute. Not a fan. But there you go. You can't like everything, can you? So put your comments in below if you like Ridge Holland, because I'm not a fan. Next, we had Kelani Jordan versus Fatal Influence, and this was announced as a gauntlet match in the pre-show. And what that meant was that Kelani Jordan would have to defend her title against all 3 members of Fatal Influence. So first against Jasmine Nix, second against Jacy Jayne, and then third and finally against Fallon Henley. And this was pretty good, actually. I enjoyed it. So the first match against Jasmine Nix, she fought really hard, got the win. Next, Jacy Jayne. That was a much better match, if I'm honest. And I thought maybe prematurely last week that if she was going to face Jacy Jayne, that was the one that would probably beat her. And maybe I wasn't taking into account the story and the positioning within the group, that actually Jacy Jayne's not the leader of this group. Fallon Henley is. So she got through Jacy Jayne. And then in the final round, Jasmine and Jacy Jayne came back to interfere to ensure that Fallon Henley got the win. So that allowed her to claim the North American Championship. So new champ and new North American Women's Champion was Fallon Henley. And I'm a bit disappointed with this because I thought Kelani Jordan was a really good champ and held the championship really well. Post-match, though, we got Zariah again, this time not at the entranceway, this time not in the crowd. This time the lights went out, and when they came back on, Zariah was stood behind all 3 members of Fatal Influence and absolutely battered them. So smashed them up 100% and finished by giving new champ Fallon Henley an F5, which I thought was really cool. Really powerful statement. Established herself as a formidable force in the women's division and is obviously coming for the NXT North American Championship. So earlier on, she was out between the 4 main women who are around the main NXT Women's Championship story, and now come out and taken out the group that hold the NXT Women's North American Championship. So that is probably where they're positioning her to begin with, this NXT North American Championship. But we know she's a future star because she's already looking forward to that that main NXT Women's Championship story as well. So really excited with Zariah. I think she's going to be fantastic. I don't know if I said, but the Kelani Jordan Fatal Influence Gauntlet, I gave that 3 out of 5 bangers. I thought it was okay. It was pretty good. Yeah, it wasn't as good as the first match. It was as good as the tag match. And yeah, I was disappointed, actually. It probably would have got a higher rating if I wasn't disappointed that that Kelani Jordan lost the match, because I think she's been really good as the champion when I've been watching it over the last 4 weeks. And yeah, disappointed a little bit. But, you know, things move on, and Fatal Influence, good group. And Zariah, here we come. So yeah, all good. Next, we had a backstage interview with Tony D'Angelo and the family. So Tony was loving the fact that he'd retained the North American Championship against Obafemi and was looking forward. But they were also discussing last week's attack on Rizzo. So Rizzo helped the finish against Obafemi by distracting him long enough for Tony D'Angelo to spear Obafemi through the ropes and through a ladder, which we didn't talk about too much in the beginning of this. But last week on NXT, Rizzo was actually attacked by a mystery attacker. So they were talking a little bit about that. And the segment teased that this week on NXT, we're going to find out who attacked Rizzo. So Tuesday night, we're going to find out who attacked Rizzo, and we're going to do something about it, which will be really cool too, because we're giving all these guys little stories, and it's keeping me engaged in everything that's going on. I started this 4 or 5 weeks ago, not knowing Tony D'Angelo or the family, and thinking they would be fodder for Obafemi as he continued his title reign. And actually, Tony D'Angelo is fast becoming my favourite part of NXT every week. Yeah, I think he's really likable. And even though he's a heel, I feel like he's got real babyface energy. Yeah, I like him. Absolutely. Next, then, we had some upcoming match confirmations, actually. So they started to do the thing where they started to fire through some graphics for upcoming matches. So Fraxium will defend their tag team championships against my man, Javon Evans. Yeah. I said I really like Tony D'Angelo, and he's one of my favourite parts of the show. He isn't my absolute favourite, though, because Javon Evans is. Javon Evans is fantastic. Yeah, so Fraxium will defend the tag team championships against Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, does it? Cedric Alexander, Javon Evans. We're going to be doing flippy doos, spinny Ds, and we're going to be loving it against Fraxium. We also got confirmation that Charlie Dempsey and Lexus King will compete for the Heritage Cup with William Regal in Lexus King's corner. And we also got confirmation that we're going to get Zaraya's in-ring debut this Tuesday night on NXT. And I will be here doing the full review on Wednesday morning between 8 and 10. Subscribe to the YouTube for confirmation. But yeah, I'll be on here Wednesday morning, as I always am, doing the full review of this Tuesday's NXT. And I think really looking forward to Zaraya's in-ring debut after she totally dismantled Fatal Influence. Doesn't matter who she's against, because we just want to see her squash someone and more power, because she's obviously a really, really powerful character. And then after that, we went back to Bubba Ray Dudley in the crowd for another interview. And he was talking about Kelani Jordan's title loss, Zaraya's impact. He referenced Joey Styles, so big shout out to Joey Styles and that, which was brilliant. And then Ridge Holland interrupted, which I thought was weird at first, but then they said that it also happened in the pre-show as well, which I missed. So Ridge Holland interrupted Bubba Ray Dudley. It was pretty poor sound quality at this point, so I couldn't really catch what Ridge Holland was saying. But Bubba Ray Dudley was frustrated, and he said that Ridge Holland won't get another chance to interrupt him, basically. And they ended the segment with Ridge Holland walking away, Bubba looking obviously frustrated, and they threw to Vic Joseph and Booker T, who were there to explain the Devil's Playground match. And it was nice to see Vic Joseph and Bubba Ray Dudley out from behind the commentary table here. They had microphones, they were in the entranceway, and they were looking at all the different stuff. The ambulance was still there. They were looking at, some of the pumpkins and things like that. And it's when Booker T was talking that there was a sort of a crate in the entranceway, and Tatum Paxley popped out always. And Tatum Paxley was put in this crate last week on NXT by Wendy Chu. I missed it in my review, actually, but I didn't think it was going to play much of a part of this. I thought it was going to be something TNA related, but it turned out to be quite important for this. Tatum Paxley popped out to the trunk, and this was a bit contrived, actually, because almost 3 seconds after she popped out of this box, Ava walked out from the stage. It didn't feel natural. It felt a bit like a play, like it was, the timing was too quick, if you like. But Ava came out, and Tatum Paxley asked for a match against Wendy Chu. Ava said yes, I think, and then Tatum Paxley didn't really give him any choice. She just spun the wheel, the Halloween wheel that's been up for this Halloween Havoc show, and it landed on casket match. And I think that's really clever, because Halloween doesn't happen until Thursday. So this Halloween theme can continue on Tuesday night's NXT. And this casket match is a great way to go. So this week on NXT, we're going to get Tatum Paxley versus Wendy Chu in a casket match. And again, we'll be talking all things NXT Tuesday night on Wednesday morning here on the YouTube on the Burley Truth Live. So that'll be really cool too. So we've got something else to look forward to this week, along with Zaraya's debut, along with Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander against Fraxium for the tag titles, and alongside Charlie Dempsey and Lexus King for the Heritage Cup with William Regal at ringside. Loads to look forward to this week. We then got the main event, right? And this is what it's all boiled down to. It's boiled down to Trick Williams versus Ethan Page, Devil's Playground match. And Devil's Playground match is just a really fancy way of saying false count anywhere, anything goes. So street fight, but with false count anywhere. It was good. if I'm going to give it a word, it was good. It saw Trick Williams successfully defend and defeat Ethan Page for the NXT Championship. It was brutal in places, weapons in and outside the ring. They utilised them to full effect. Page brought a really aggressive energy, which I liked, and pushed Williams to the limit. Williams took a really nasty bump on the steel ring steps, how they're sort of angled inside to fit where the ring is. Almost like Drew McIntyre and landed on the side in the Hell in a Cell match a few weeks ago when he hit the Claymore. Trick Williams took a really nasty bump on the corner of those steps, but on like the indent side, so the side where the ring goes, and caught his back. And I thought, oh, that doesn't look good at all. But his athleticism, his resilience, it really helped. Went through a table as well at some point. Ethan Page picked him up in the razor's edge on top of the steps outside the ring through the announce table. So some really, really good spots here. But Williams eventually hit a low blow, which was a great shout. Even though he's a babyface, it was really, really, really good moment. And then followed it up with the trick shot to defeat Ethan Page to retain the NXT Championship, which was really, really cool. After the match, though, is when things got interesting. So the human fast forward button, Ridge Holland came out and attacked Trick. And him and Page both started to beat down Trick Williams until Bubba Ray Dudley made a surprise fourth appearance, if you like, got in the ring and fought off Ridge and Ethan Page. So, we got Bubba Dudley, making that appearance in the ring, fighting him off. And the show closed on a really high note as Bubba and Trick stood tall in the ring. So Bubba Dudley absolutely making it happen. And hopefully we'll get a tag match now at the ECW Arena in a couple of weeks. We'll get Bubba Ray Dudley and Trick Williams versus Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. And then Trick Williams obviously is going to have to deal long-term with the title challenger of Ridge Holland and still all ego Ethan Page, who's going to be around there for him. And to summarise that, I gave the main event 3 out of 5 bangers. Was it better or as good as Tony D'Angelo versus Obafemi? I don't think it was, right? I gave those 4 out of 5 bangers. And I don't think Trick Williams and Ethan Page was as good as that match. Or at least, I deal with a lot on feeling. It didn't feel as good for me. And that is my opinion, right? So I'm really interested in your opinion. If you have opinions, get them in the comments below. We'll talk about them. We'll talk it out. And I'm happy to be proved wrong. We're all wrestling fans and we all enjoy different things. So if you agree, brilliant. If you don't, tell me in the comments below. We'll talk it out. And that is my full review of NXT Halloween Havoc PLE 2024. I really enjoyed the show. Thought it was totally solid. 3 out of 5 bangers overall for me on Halloween Havoc. I think that's fair for what the show was. I'm really starting to enjoy some of the characters now. And I think if I had a bit more backstory, would I be enjoying it more? I think I'm about where I am with it currently because not all the characters are as flushed out as I would like. I haven't got much of the history, but equally, I think there's a lot of new characters on the show too. And that helps because if I'm new and they're new, we're all starting from scratch, aren't we? So, yeah, really good episode for me. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I thought it was a really, really, should I use the word clever? I thought it was a really, really clever event to get some quality characters over. Tony D'Angelo, Obafemi, Fatal Influence, Stephanie Vaquer and Julia came off really well, as did Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez. I don't think any of those characters came out that badly. Ridge Holland obviously came out looking pretty good after he squashed. It wasn't a squash, but it almost was a squash against Andre Chase. And I think all in all, I think we've got some really good stuff there. If I can just say, we've got some massive wrestling news and a killer preview for tonight's episode of the podcast, episode 344. This one's a big one. Trust me, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button on the YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts for the Burning Truth Live so you don't miss it. In this episode, we're diving deep into The Rock's huge tease about what he's calling his biggest WrestleMania match ever. We're talking WrestleMania 41 live in Vegas. Could we see the final boss back in action in a way we've never seen before? We're breaking all that down and all the possibilities. We've also got a big update from Big E himself. He's given fans a glimpse into his recovery and what he hopes for next year. Fingers crossed for Big E's return. That's what we want to see. If that wasn't enough for you, I gave my top 3 heartbreaking team breakups. And if you're a fan of DIY or The Shield, that might hit really hard. And of course, Matt's got something special lined up. It was his week to take on the Book and do Reboot This. And I challenged him to take on Adam Cole versus MJF in the AEW All-In Wembley Red Hot rivalry that was face versus face. But I challenged him to do it even better because I thought it sucked. If you ever thought you could book it better, wait until you hear Matt's take on the Reboot This on tonight's podcast. Don't miss it. Episode 344 will drop tonight. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube or for the Burning Truth live, wherever you get your podcasts, and turn on your notifications so you're the first to catch it when it goes live. Get ready for some epic storylines, shocking twists, and the ultimate of wrestling nostalgia. And that's it for me today, guys. And that's it for this episode of your NXT Live Halloween Havoc review and reaction on the Burning Truth Live. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I enjoy recording these. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram, we're at The Burning Truth, and on Facebook at The Burning Truth too. You can listen to all our episodes and these NXT Live reactions. They're all on the YouTube page, so please subscribe and check us out on there. If you've got any questions or ideas, you can leave a comment below or email us at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you're listening to us anywhere else but YouTube, please leave a review. 5 stars. It really helps spread the word. And check out the website, theburningtruthuk.com, for more updates and blogs. Until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying your wrestling, and I'll catch you on the next episode of these NXT reviews. Excelsior, baby.